I am joined by NBA player Pops. You are one of only 2 Ghanaians to have ever played in the NBA.
Yes. One of only 2 to ever play, and I always wanted to find a way to give back, and one of the ways was using basketball as a tool, using it as a tool to help this younger generation. So I don't want to be the last Ghanaian to ever play in the NBA, but obviously not everybody's going to get a chance to live out their dreams by playing in the NBA. But so we know we use basketball as a tool for this younger generation to live out their dreams, whether it be on the operations side, media, forward facing in that sense. And we teach them different trades and teach them different skill sets to help them thrive with this in the future.
And sports is such a powerful tool because it's a nation builder. You can really rally people around with sports, but it also translates across borders. So there are young boys and girls, I guess, who are going to see you and who are going to want to be like you, be an NBA player, but also watch all the other things that you do.
Exactly.
So with the fame comes responsibility, right?
Exactly.
How are you using that to empower the youth of today?
I mean, that's a great question. I was blessed to play in the NBA, and always knew that with that blessing, with that experience, with that knowledge, you have to share it. What's the point of having any of that if you don't give it back? And so my way of giving back is going back to Ghana and teaching them through the game of basketball. Especially young girls. Young girls is a big focus for us because basketball taught me that you can be confident. It teaches you to work with the team. It teaches you leadership skills, competitiveness, and all of those are transferable skills into the real world. So we want to make sure that we can unearth some of these qualities in these kids by using the game of basketball.
And so you've actually gone back to Ghana and you have these centers where you are training people, like boys and girls, to be sports players. And then everything else that goes with that.
Yeah, I mean, we so like I said, we have 1,000 students now
in
our academy, and we teach them through the game. Use the game of basketball to teach them these other life skills. So again, we want to make sure they have love of country as well as passion for the game of basketball. So we teach them this community service component, understanding that pouring back into your community is what's going to keep this country going. And then the workforce readiness part is a big thing because unfortunately in Ghana, unemployment, starts as early as 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
And not everybody gets a chance to go to school. So we want to make sure we're showing them different avenues, teaching them different trades so that they can, thrive, because by 2040, Africa's population is going to be close to 3 billion, with 1.5 billion of that being under the age of 21.
Wow.
So with that understanding, we want to
Yeah.
make sure we're equipping this younger generation with the necessary tools to succeed.
So when you come to a conference like this, Global Africa Business Initiative, what are your main aims? Are they to meet with private sector to try and encourage investment or something else?
Yeah, most definitely. I think just raising awareness of some of the things that people will take for granted in the West. And perfect example. We did a tournament in Ghana just a week ago, and there's no indoor facilities in all of Ghana. Basketball is an indoor sport. No indoor facilities in all of Ghana, and it rained. So we got rained out, so we had to wait 5 hours for the courts to dry, for the rain to stop, just to be able to play. And seeing that's the harsh reality and challenges that these kids face in Ghana. So we want to make sure that we provide these opportunities, provide the infrastructure and resources for them to not have to adhere to the elements like that.
Wow, that's it's really interesting when you say it like that. We do take it for granted over here in the West. So you also serve as a president of the minor league for the Knicks here. And so what are you doing to kind of like bridge that gap or build just a bridge between the Knicks here and these operations in Ghana?
Great question. Similar to how I did it when I was a player. I wanted to be a role model, provide a mirror image of success for this younger generation to show them that, hey, it's possible. Hey, you can achieve something, and look what I did. And so again, going back to Ghana and showing these kids that, look, there's another avenue that you could pursue, and look at me, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. So again, we've been blessed. I was blessed enough to make it to the NBA, and I always knew there was a purpose You know, you have to serve your purpose or share your blessings, and this is how I was going to do it. But again, having them see somebody that's from where they're from, grew up the same way they did, and is able to achieve something is, you know, hopefully that's inspiring enough for them to want to achieve something too.
And I love the fact that you're doing the same thing here, like to the NBA in the US, you are an ambassador for Ghana. You know, what are some of the things that people ask you about Ghana?
You know what it is? There's a misconception about Africa in general.
Yeah.
You know, for the longest, Africa has always been about what we need. And it's always needing something. You know, the narrative has always looked like that. It's time to show what Africa has. You know, Ghana is one of the most beautiful places in the world. But, you know, if we don't control the narrative, a lot of people may not know that. So, you know, part of that is extending the reach. You know, part of it, one of my large infrastructure projects that we're doing is not only to spur civic pride and a sense of belonging for Ghanaians, but also for tourists and, you know, people coming, you know, to the country, get a chance to see and immerse into the community and the culture and understand how beautiful and vast this culture is. And, you know, there's 54 countries in Africa, but everybody kind of looks at it, or let me not say everybody, a lot of people look at it as one place. Yeah. You know, and there's 54 separate countries that have all different cultures and people and food, and, you know, we really want to be able to amplify that. That's the biggest part, amplifying what Africa has, the talent that it has, and making sure that they get the opportunities that everybody else has too.
And that leads me very nicely to my next question, because you're doing this in Ghana, and you have these centers and you're teaching people there about basketball. But is that now going to transcend African borders and teach some more African countries about the game?
That's the ultimate goal. You know, I just started in Ghana. The ultimate goal is to
have an African league.
Yeah. Oh, they have one. They just developed one.
Shows you how much I know about basketball.
So they, the NBA and FIBA, the governing body for basketball, have developed the Basketball Africa League, and I'm an ambassador for it.
Okay.
And, you know, we want to use that tool to, you know, show these kids that you don't leave your country to be successful or thrive through the game of basketball. So we're going to develop a team in Ghana.
Fantastic.
And yeah, so that, you know, these kids can aspire to something. Like I said, not everybody is going to get an opportunity to play in the NBA. So if we create these pathways or other directions they can go in to live their dreams through the game, whether it's on the court, off the court, what have you, we want to make sure we're providing that and showing them how to do it also.
So maybe we need to have a basketball game at the next Gabby conference.
You heard it here first. I love it. I love it.
Jokes aside, what would you like to see this time next year from the next Gabby conference?
Wow. Action and execution. I've done, you know, a number of these conferences. I've spoken hundreds of panels talking about how Africa is next. Africa is coming, and, you know, we have to have investment. We need, you know, people from the outside to come in and pour into the country. Let's see some execution. What I want to see is, you know, the networks and the connections that were made here today are bearing fruit this time next year. So that's you know, my driving force for this, about execution and action, and that's what it's all about for me.
Love it. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.